Okay, you guys, it is time to stop making excuses. We do it all the time. All of us do it. And sometimes we do it worse than others, but it is time to stop it. I'm going to go through a list of some of the excuses, the top 10 excuses that people make. I want you to listen for the one that is your worst, the one that is your fallback, your go-to, that makes it easier for you to have a reason to justify, to stop, to quit, to avoid, to wait. Okay? So number one is lack of time. People say they don't have enough time. They claim that they don't have time to work on their goals. They will cite a busy schedule or a whole bunch of different responsibilities as reasons for not making progress. This is a lie. In fact, all of these are. All of these are stories that we're telling ourselves. So I want you to stop telling yourself stories. And I know what's going to happen. As you're listening, you are going to hear some of these top 10 and you are going to say, well, that's true. I know it's an excuse, but, and then you'll have a reason and you'll want to justify. The minute you catch yourself doing that, stop. This is why you are not seeing the success that you want to see. The second one is fear of failure. We know what that feels like. A lot of people avoid taking risks or pursuing new opportunities because they are afraid of failing or making a mistake, and it stops them from moving forward. The third thing is procrastination. That's a tough one. Some people constantly put off tasks or they delay taking action, and it leads to missed opportunities and they don't get to progress. Is that you? Think about it. Number 4 is a perceived lack of resources. Notice I use the word perceived because a lot of people believe that they lack the resources. They don't have the option. But that's not true. They think they don't have money, they don't have skills, they don't have connections in order to achieve their goals. When you use this excuse, you stop finding resources. And when you refuse to make this excuse, what happens is your brain starts to recognize different aspects or different situations or different people or different skills or different resources as actual resources, instead of thinking that it's not a resource or not a resource. Number 5, feeling overwhelmed. We all get to that place, but just remember it's temporary. The prospect of tackling some large or complex goal, it can be daunting and it starts to feel like it's too much, and it leads people to feel overwhelmed, and then they avoid taking action. I've taught you before, I just break it down into small steps, such small steps that each step feels so ridiculous. You're like, well, duh, I can do that. If each step doesn't feel like that, you haven't broken it down small enough. Yeah, I'm making up new words, breaking. It hasn't broken it up. It hasn't broken it up enough. Number 6, self-doubt. This is a tough one. It's a lack of self-confidence and feelings of inadequacy. It can hold people back and stop them from pursuing their dreams. And what happens is, this happens more often when we're tired, but it can really become a habit that stops us from being able to achieve our dreams. Number 7 is perfectionism. The desire for everything to be perfect, or I'm not going to start until I've got everything organized, I've got it all ready to go, and it's all set. If you do this, you will not succeed. If you do this and you feel like everything has to be organized and ready before you start, and you never give up, you will succeed extremely slowly. But if you don't wait for it to be perfect and you just go, you are going to see success faster than you ever thought possible. So from starting projects to completing projects, there's a fear that you won't meet some high standard. Well, who set the standard? You did. You're telling yourself a story. And people say, well, what story should I tell myself? I don't care. Make it up. The story you were telling yourself you made up. You made up the story that it has to be perfect. You made up the story that people won't think it's good enough. You made up the story that it has to be a certain way or it has to be organized. None of that's true. Make up a story and start living by that story. And guess what? You might think, for those of you who struggle with believing things are possible, Right now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, that's ridiculous. You just make up whatever story that for real. And some of you have already clicked to a different video, and that's fine. But I will tell you this right now. The people who are extremely successful are the ones who make up their own story and then they live by that story. That's how I created the massive business I created, because I believed things and I decided on a story that almost every person told me was not possible. Even entrepreneurs who have big dreams. And then I surpassed what I even believed was possible and created a business that does over $1 billion in sales every single year in over 60 countries around the world. So for me, I know it's possible. Does that mean that I am perfect at it and I always think big and I think I can do it? Almost always. But I still have fears. When I'm starting something new, I get nervous and I start to be afraid that I am not going to be able to do it. When I started this new channel and started doing kind of a new niche, I thought, there were several times I was feeling like, who do I think I am? But you want to know what? I've learned from my past experience that I know it works. So it makes it easier when I have those fears or those worries or those self-doubts. I just do it anyway, because I already know if I just do it anyway, I know it will end up working. And it's a powerful, powerful thing that empowers you to move forward and progress. Okay, number 8 is the fear of judgment or criticism. Some people avoid taking risks because they are afraid. They won't pursue their goals. They won't like share their goals with other people or talk about them or act like it's even possible because they have concerns about how other people might perceive them, or they worry about negative feedback. Don't be that person. It's not worth wasting your life and wasting your time on that. Number 9 is waiting for the right moment. Can be kind of similar as the perfectionism thing. Everything's got to be perfect before I start, but you've actually been working. This is more, you don't really even start until you think you have the perfect moment. You wait for the right moment. A lot of people, they don't even take action. They believe they have to wait for the perfect timing or the ideal circumstance to begin working toward their goals. And that is not what we want, because that's not going to get you success. And number 10 is an unwillingness to change or adapt. You have got to be able to adapt. You have to be flexible. If you are reluctant to step out of your comfort zone or adapt to a new situation, it will hinder your personal growth and it will prevent you from reaching your full potential. And I want you to be able to reach your full potential, because I know you can. I have worked with thousands and thousands of people individually in small groups, some larger groups, and I have trained at retreats where we are together for days. And I can tell you, the people who choose to have belief and are willing to be flexible, willing to be teachable, they always succeed if they take action. Always. And at levels they never would have imagined. So if you can recognize and address these common excuses that we all kind of go through, every single one of us can pick more than one of these that we have struggled with or are struggling with right now. It will help you overcome obstacles. You will change unproductive behaviors, and you'll ultimately achieve greater success. And I know you can do it. So think about all of these 10, pick one that you are thinking, okay, that's the one. That's the one I'm going to work on and focus on this week. Work with me on it. Put your comments down below. Mine is going to be that I'm going to stop telling myself the story that I don't have time. Lack of time. I've been telling myself this story that, well, there's not enough time. Well, I changed my schedule. No matter what I do, it doesn't work out. I didn't say the words out loud because I don't believe those things. But if I get down to the core of what I've really been doing, I've been feeling like I don't have time. I've got so much to do. I've got to get all this done in this amount of time. And then it's not going to work. And, and it turns into this self-perpetuating prophecy. That's mine that I'm going to work on this week. Tell me what yours is, and I'll see you next time.